Welcome back everyone. So this is session 10 of season 2, and in this session we are going to finalize this our second mini project, and we are this close to finish the second project of this course. And if we come here, let's review what things that they are remaining. First of all, we have a bug that we need to fix. That these ripples you see here, that they are shrinking, they growing and go small and big. Well, they are creating a bug. For example, here I click on this, it works, but when I click on this, see, nothing happens because the z-index of that ripples are bigger than this. So that's why now that it's gone, I can click on this, it's okay. But when it comes back, see, I cannot click on this because actually these ripples, these circles are on top of the other one because of that z-index that we applied to them. So this is one bug that we need to fix. Maybe some margin and paddings, they need to be fixed as well. And for example, this button, you can see that it doesn't have enough a good space from top, and we may want to make the border a little thicker, this border of that. So there are some minor changes and a bug fix. One, that's something that remains. The other one is actually this, we wanted to customize this plugin. So many times it happens that we include and use a plugin in our project, but that plugin has a default color palette that doesn't match with ours. For example, in this case, you can see that this is not, this blue one, this is not matching with our thing here. So this is something that we need to fix. So in order to fix these things, when you are trying, so we are basically trying to override everything that has been written inside this CSS file that we appended. Because if you remember, in a previous session we attached a CSS file, and all of these colors here, they all come from that CSS file. And if we hit inspect element on that, you can see that this here is let's inspect that again. This has some CSS styles. You can see this is the selector for that. This is the selected. This is something that has selected this, and you can see some CSS properties are applied to that. So we need to override that. For example, the first thing that we want to override is this blue color here. So we can choose the selector exactly as it is. So we can copy the selector here and come back in our style in our CSS files here, and we can create a new section here and make a comment and maybe it's called that customizing date picker. Okay, and we comment this section and we paste that select. Oof, I copied all the selector. I don't want to copy all the selectors, so let's come back here, hit inspect again, and just copy the text. I want to copy the text only. So here is it. Okay, so it's basically telling go ahead and select something that has this here and this selected here. And I wish, let's take a look at the CSS file. I wish this code would have been written somehow that we could use variables in that. So you can see that the colors are repeated so many times. Yeah, the colors are repeated so many times. It hasn't used variable like we did, so that we can just change that in one place. No, we can't do that. We need to change that everywhere. So first of all, we selected that, and you can see this one has a background color. This thing here has a background color, and you can see the background color and the border color are that. So we can go ahead and overwrite that. So we can come here and say background color, turn off the caps lock, should be our, for example, var. Let's see our variables. Let's see what variable to use. Let's use maybe our secondary Yeah, maybe use our secondary. So let's copy this one, Control C here, and paste this here, and with 2 dashes behind it. The background color is something that needs to be overridden, and the other one was border color. Okay, the border color should be the secondary var as well. So come back here, hit refresh, and now when we select something, you can see that it's actually doing our job. And the other one for the hover effect is something that we need to fix. The hover, when it gets hovered, you see that the color is different. Let's hit inspect element. Well, we have a problem. Let's see something about this inspect tool. Well, when I hover this, you see the color is changed. But when I come back here, move the mouse cursor, the hover will be lost. So there's something in this inspect tool that can help us. We can force a state. We can right click on this span here, and there's something here, force a state. And we have some states: active, focus, hover. Hover is for the when the mouse goes on that. We force that on hover, and as you can see there, that orange circle here, it means that we have forced the element on hover. So when the element is hovered, you can see there is actually a selector we can find somewhere that has that that applies that background color. So we are trying to search where that background comes from. So let's see. As you can see that var secondary of ours has been removed. It's no longer listening to that, but it is listening to this selector. So the selector is actually this. You can see that here. Day.selected flicker. This is the selector that is being applied. So let's copy this one. So okay, and you can see, because as you can see, if you I don't know, my screen recorder apps show that correctly, but all of them are grayed out except 2 of them. So that's why. So let's come back here, and we can set that background color. I want to use our tertiary for that. So let's come back here. Okay, the tertiary thing is something that I want to use, and instead of secondary, I want to use tertiary. Okay. And now I'm looking at it, I see that there's something wrong with my indentation, because when I hit tab, my tab will occupy as much as 2 space characters, and I want to have 4 character spaces. This is something that I need to fix as well, because for now you can see every time we need to fix this indentation and auto indentation very soon. For now, I have pressed 2 tabs in order to have that 4 spaces, and when I hit 2 tabs, that's why you see 2 lines here, 1 line here and 2 line here. So this is something that we need to fix as well. Let's go inside our settings. Let's see in our setting, where can I find that settings, and let's search for tab length. Tab. I saw something here. Tab. Yes, this is tab size here. Well, I have defined that tab size, and the tab size is on 4, but I don't know why when I'm inside my style.css, when I hit tab, it occupies as much as 2 character space. This is something that we need to fix, that have that in mind. This indentation thing is very important. Please take that seriously, just like I do. But for now that we are doing something else, we will come back and fix the indentions and tab length and tab size. But for now, let's save this, come back here, hit refresh. As you can see, now the tertiary is being applied to that. And for this gray as well, that's something that we need to apply that tertiary to. For example, let's force a state this one too, force state on hover, and we can see this background color and border color comes from this selector, the black one. You can see all of them are grayed out, and this is the only black thing. So we can copy that, come here and hit a comma and hit Control V. For these ones, I want to use tertiary as well. So come back here, hit refresh. As you can see, now we are getting close to what we want. And again, for this one here, okay, you can see it has a border color. And for this one, let's copy this selector. I want to use another. Let's come back here. For this selector, I want to have a border color, and I want to set the border color to our tertiary. Come back here, refresh. As you can see, now it's on tertiary. And also I want to increase the border width. I think the border width needs to be increased, so I can go ahead and border width to 2 pixels. Okay, let's come back here, hit refresh, and you can see now the border width is on 2 pixels. And another thing here, you can see that the hover effect is working completely fine, but for these ones, the background color and the border color is gray. I think let's leave it at that gray because it's for the previous month. And also for the today, when I hover that, so let's fix this one as well. When I hover that, inspect element and force state, again, force state on hover, you can see that this background color and border color comes from here. So we can select this one and focus this. Let's copy all these selectors, both the black one and the gray one. Copy selector. So come back here in our code, hit comma and paste that. And now we have these. So we have 4 different selectors, and they all have this tertiary thing that we have. So now I think everything is okay. And also it's a good idea to change the color to white, because when everything is hovered here. So let's set the color to white, and the white is triple Fs. And we said do not use absolute white and absolute black, but for backgrounds. Well, for the text you can, but if you want to be very precise, we can use our var white. It wasn't 100% the absolute white. It's a little gray, but you can consider that as white. So here, instead of triple F, which means white, we can use our white color. Okay, come back here, hit refresh again, and now we can see that everything is just fine. If I click here, and this is actually from it matches our palette. And also there are a lot of different other things that we can fix. For example, here, this one that when we hover these two, the color is gray. We can actually go ahead and again change that. We can force state this one again and force that on hover. As you can see, it has a background and we can copy the selector again, the selector that it has, and overwrite everything on that. So here we can say that the background color should be our tertiary. So come back here, hit refresh. As you can see now, this is looking just fine. And this one as well, so this one too, again, force state, hover, and well, hover that, the hover one, and I'm not seeing any background color here. Do you see? I'm trying to understand where does that background color comes from. Here, this is background color, and I can click on this and see where does that come from. Maybe this is it. So let's change that temporary. Let's see that. per year. Let's set a background color temporary. Let's set that on red, just temporary, to see actually where is what that selected. I'm trying to find that. Yes, that comes from there, but I'm going to make that for the hover, and the background color should be our tertiary. So come back here, hit refresh. As you can see, now everything is okay. So this is our year. This user can type something in that, okay, and this is our month. Okay, everything is okay. Now it is using the palette that we have. It's just like our palette here. So yes, this is it. But for the for this one is secondary for the selected one, but for the hover effects and focus effects, they are tertiary. And if we missed something here, because it's probable that we have missed something for the palette, you now know how you can fix that. We can even actually change the background color of this from white to something else, because you can see that here we have a light green color inside our palette. We did have a light green color in our palette. We can actually use that for this one as well if we want to. So basically I wanted you to see how we can actually customize a plugin. We need to go use this inspect element tool and find out what selector is being used, and copy that selector and go ahead and replace the CSS properties that we want. For example, if you want to even increase the font size. For example, for now we just change the border color and the background color, but the change can be anything. We can change anything that we want. So this is it. I think it looks great now, and this is enough for this session, and there are just some minor changes remaining, and also I need to have a sum up section, and also in that sum up section I want to give you some information, some extra information about forms and inputs, some attributes. For example, let's go inside our index.html. There are so many different attributes that could be attached to form elements, to form itself, and to the input itself. So that's why this is something that we need to fix. For example, you can see when I click on this, it is suggesting me some values. And how does the browser do that? For example, if you go ahead and set inspect, this input has a name, okay, and whenever and the name of this input is first name, and whenever I type something inside that and submit the form, well, the browser saves that value that I wrote in that input. And it doesn't matter if I go to any website that has an input with that first name, it will suggest that for me. For example, if I even go to another website and that other website has an input and the name of that input is first name, so these are the values that it's going to suggest to me. Okay, so for example, we can actually turn that off. For example, for this first name, we can go ahead and set that autocomplete. There's actually a attribute for that, and we can set that autocomplete to off. Okay, come back here, hit refresh, and as you can see now that autocomplete is off and it does not suggest anything for me. We can apply this autocomplete to inputs, and we can also attach that to the form itself. And when we attach that to the form itself, everything that is inside this form the autocomplete will be turned off for them. So this is, for example, one attribute, and there are lots of other attributes and things that could be attached to form or inputs, and that's something that we need to discuss as well. So this is it. That's enough for this session, and we are so close to finish this season, and hope to see you in the next one.